Hello and welcome back to Suspended Animation. I am your host, Dennis Batholkus, and this is iZombie, Season 5, Episode 8, Death of a Car Salesman. Hello, everybody, and welcome. Yeah, I almost didn't make it on the air here tonight. I was having a few technical difficulties. Last night's internet fiasco that happened. Hey, Joe Greer. Hey, Pen Farm Girl. Yeah, last night's internet fiasco was continuing again into today, and I had to take some drastic measures, but I think everything's working now. Hopefully, everything holds together. It's spit, duct tape, and a little bit of snot. I think everything has, is perfectly balanced altogether there. So hopefully, nothing goes down tonight. You know, yeah, it's trust me, it's just a pain in the ass, but I might have it ironed out at least a little bit. It's a really shitty, it's an old building, and fiber optics. We're just discussing this with the homeowners association tonight, as a matter of fact, that it's a block in one direction is where the fiber optics stop, and the block in the other direction is where the fiber optics stop. So it's like we're right in the middle of no man's land of getting fiber optics. And it's like, son of a bitch, can you just guys do it? It's a block. Just do it now. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. Spoiler alert, I am going to spoil the episode. If you if you haven't seen the episode, go and watch it. Come on back. This will be a video and you can comment down below in the comment section. Thank you, Viking bitch. Yeah, I do too, Joe. I use an Ethernet connection. I hardwire everything in. It's not on Wi-Fi. And yeah, just because of that whole thing. And so that's why I try and make sure it's not glitchy. EJR says, I feel your pain, Dennis. I'm 1,500 feet from the cutoff. Oh, man, that's the worst. Yeah. Yeah, it's literally we're at the T of an intersection kind of. And yeah, it's nowhere near us. So it's yeah. But hey, and howdy. Yes, howdy, EJR. Thanks for joining. So we start off with going into a flashback of 5 years ago, and we get a lot of information in this episode. We finally get a lot of information in this episode. I'm kind of surprised. We see 5 years ago Stacy Boss, and he's talking to Liv's dad, Martin Roberts. And Martin Roberts has invented utopium because remember, he was into drugs and all this kind of shit. So he's the one who actually invented utopium and is perfecting the drug itself, and has been snorting a shitload of it. And he's also dealing some of the utopium on the side, or he's starting to, when he's the first zombie case. He zombies out and eats a drug dealer's head, essentially, in one of the vans that he's trying to deal drugs in. We flash back to today where we left off in the last episode, where Liv actually is at his door and meeting him. And just as she's meeting him for the first time, her phone goes off and work calls. And so she asks him if they can get coffee later, kind of thing, when she's done. And he agrees. So they're going to do that. In the meantime, it's Ravi's time of the month where he is a zombie, where he'll eat brains. And so he's eating brains from the last murder victim, or a guy who's laying there on the table. He's a car salesman. And when Clive comes in, he says, whoa, wait a minute. That guy's a murder victim because his car crashed into a lake and it may have been hijacked. And he has Liv and Ravi listen to the recording that he was making to his wife at the time that it happened. Yeah, he's got the little gray streak in his hair that lets us know it's a white streak, actually, that he's a zombie at this point. So Liv also gets on, car salesman brain as well, and she makes a nice little sandwich. We can tell who's actually writing the episodes when they're doing the montage of what they're making, and then also there's an ending to the murder of the week instead of this kind of weird, it just happened. So yes, this we can tell this was the A team that was writing this one tonight, because they had to put in the utopium as well as a couple other things that are happening right now, pretty big time in this. So we see that Blaine has cleaned up Donnie's basement, Donnie's mom's basement, and has made it a bit swankier. And Donnie's kind of pissed, and he's like, "You're not supposed to have any food and drink down here." And he goes, "Well, your mom brought it down because I bought her a new washer and dryer. That's whisper quiet." So she's taking care of things. And so Donnie's like, "Well, why'd you bring me over here?" And he wants him to, of course, put him into touch with Dalton Earl Duke, who was Blaine's smuggler before, brain smuggler. And Donnie says, "You know what? I have a bar to run, man. I can't just do this all the time." And he goes, "Well, how's our bar doing? How's the scratching post doing?" And Donnie's like, "No, no, no, no. It's Donnie Be Goods now," which Blaine, of course, is not happy with at this point. So that's the other thing too, is this whole cooperation with Donnie and Stacy. w- They kind of abandon it all of a sudden in the middle of this episode as well. So I don't know if that's still on or if it's, a side thing or what's going on, but they didn't even touch it in this episode, which I'm okay with because I don't know. It's kind of a weird thing. I don't, yeah. But anyway, we'll get to that. So of course we see one of the released soldiers, one of the released Fillmore Grave soldiers from the deep freeze, is pretending to be Corporal Jones, and he's getting checked out by a doctor in the hospital. And he scratches the doctor and goes, "You're now one of us. You work for us now. You're a zombie." And tells him if he wants to survive, you're going to do what we tell you to do. So Peyton comes back after she comes back from Washington, D.C. Remember, she had gone out there to broker a summit so that Seattle doesn't get nuked off the map. And so she's agreed to, or she's talked people into coming to Seattle to see what's going on and float a new idea past all of these generals and higher up biggie bigs in the government. And of course, Ravi is really happy to see her as well. And uh, basically they're talking about the summit to come, and then we cut over to Major and Liv, who are out in the living room, and they're talking about that as well. When up comes the first episode of iZombie, which of course Peyton has produced. So she comes out with Ravi, and they're going to watch the first episode, and everyone's laughing. It's a total sitcom, and it's getting well received by everyone who hasn't seen it as of yet. Let's see. Do they alternate weeks each are? I believe they do. Who knows at this point? I think it's just depending on who the writing is depending on who has the most important storyline at this point. So yeah. Um the delegates arrive, of course, and Major presents the original Fillmore Graves idea. I can't remember her name now, who was originally in charge of Fillmore Graves when her helicopter exploded. Was originally buying an island for the 300 known zombies at the time. Now it's 10,000 zombies, and he floats the idea past the delegates of, instead of nuking Seattle, we move all the zombies to this island, and same agreement and all that stuff. You don't nuke us, but we live out there. And the senator, of course, is very hostile towards him and says, "Well, we're making policy for the undead now. What's going on here?" He goes, "That's not what the government's for. The government's for the living, not for the dead," kind of thing. So Blaine, in the meantime, is talking to Dalton Duke, and Dalton Duke has his own gig going on right now where he's selling supercharged brains and all this stuff. And um, Blaine says, "Well, how'd you like to make some more money? Going back to smuggling for me." And he floats him a number, and you know, Duke agrees on that. So we go back to 5 years ago. Again, we have another flashback, and we see Donnie going in to pick up drugs from Martin's lab, and Martin's gone. Martin just has a little post-it note that says, "Be back in 5 minutes." So Donnie is scooping up the drugs, and Blaine is outside telling him to hurry up. And what does Donnie grab? He grabs a box of Utopium. We find out that that's the night that Liv gets changed. That was the night of the party that changed Liv as well. So this is all kind of tying in together. They actually did a really good job of this, of telling us where it came from. I mean, they've been withholding this information for a long time, and now finally we find out that Liv's father is the person who's made Utopium, who has the formula that they need. And yeah, so it's pretty awesome at that point. Sorry about that. You guys didn't need to hear any kind of alert on my computer there. So I just, got rid of that little sound so you don't have to listen to that again. So Ravi, in the meantime, is still looking for Beanpole Bob as well. He's looking for the chemist, as well as looking for Darcy, the Freilich girl who is living in Seattle. And he calls up where Darcy was supposed to be at, the school she's supposed to be at, and finds out that she dropped out and nowhere to be found. So he's kind of disappointed by that. In the meantime, him and Liv are both on Car Salesman Brain, and they're competing against each other to sell as many raffle tickets as possible for this police auction thing that's going on. And the winner, whoever sells the most raffle tickets, gets a mountain bike. So yeah, they're dressed up in suits and all this stuff, and it's kind of funny. There's a lot of Glenn Ross quotes that are being floated back and forth as well. Coffee is for closers, all that kind of stuff. And for those of you who don't know what Glenn Ross is, it's a very old movie with Alec Baldwin before he became, really abusive towards his daughter. Actually, I think it's before his daughter was born. So there we go. Academy Award winning movie, all that kind of stuff. So Liv finds out that her dad's a zombie. Her dad comes by, and so they're going out for a hot dog. And she finds out that her dad's a zombie, that he got it during the flu, is what he says. That she's the one of the original zombies from the original party. And he told her that he's all clean and all this kind of stuff. Uh, very old, you ageist. I am. Um, and he's got sniffles and all this kind of stuff. And she goes, "Oh, so how long you been? When was the last time you used?" She goes, "You have classic symptoms of you're still using utopium, right?" And she goes, "Remember, I'm a doctor." She goes, "I know the signs. I see it there." And she's kind of pissed off at him. And he goes, "Well, wait. He goes, "It wasn't until I saw you that I had a reason to quit." And she goes, "Well, what about when I was born? How about then? Why wasn't that enough of a reason for you to quit?" Which is great logic, by the way. She just kind of threw that back in his face, and she walks away from him. So it's actually pretty good. Uh, in the meantime, the general whose daughter is in Seattle, remember, and is a zombie who got taken off the streets, asked Major where his daughter is. That was the reason why he came to the summit, was to see her, his daughter. And Major says, "Well, she decided she didn't want to show up. I have no control over that." And the general says, "Well, you know what?" He goes, "Then I have no interest then in saving Seattle." He goes, "I'm going to walk through the rubble of it," kind of thing. And basically, he's going to vote to blow the shit up, at this point. So the general manager of the car sales lot that Rick was the victim, by the way, comes into the police station. And Clive interviews him, and he implicates another salesman named Stu Stellano. Stu Stellano, by the way, used to lose every month. They would have sales quotas, and whoever reached number one would, of course, get a new car. Second place would get a set of steak knives, and third person would get fired. So Stu would always get the steak knives, and of course Rick would always get the car. So that was, they were saying maybe that was the reason why. And also Rick had married Stu's ex-wife, Gina. So of course he has a whole bunch of motivation and motive for that. Liv, in the meantime, has a vision of Jack getting fired, and she wants to know who the hell Jack is. So Jack was one of the salesmen, of course, who didn't make it, came in third place and got fired. So Blaine has his smugglers all in one room, and he gives them all the names of these teens with Freilich brains, and says that he wants them in alive, that they're worth more alive than dead, of course, and they're going to be smuggled into Seattle at this point. Clive, in the meantime, is and Liv are interviewing Jack about Rick's murder, and Jack says that Gina was having an affair with Teddy, the GM. So he didn't do anything. It wasn't him. That he's actually better off for not being there anymore. But they should look into Teddy, because the whole place is a snake pit, and that Teddy was still banging Gina. So yeah, it plays it like a soap opera at this point. In the meantime, Darcy, the girl with the Freilich brain, meets Blaine, and Blaine is, basically tells her, she says that, she got a phone call from somebody named Ravi, her contact did, and that he's looking for her. And Blaine's like, no, 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 you don't want to go with him. He wants to test. Basically, he wants to kill you and experiment on your brain, kind of thing. So we need to hide you out. We're going to hide you out at the scratching post. And Ravi ends up having a vision of a broken windshield. He gives that to Clive. So Clive runs with that to find out what's going on. And in the meantime, Donnie is in the bar in the scratching post, and Darcy's at the bar there, and Donnie falls for her because Donnie is still under the assumption of what the matchmaker told him before she died was that he would meet a girl with a skull tattoo, and that's what Darcy has. She has a skull tattoo, and he thinks she's the one at this point. And of course, his bartender slash prostitute, I guess you could say. Hey, movie Fanobi. See ya. Thanks, movie Fanobi. I'm almost done. You can stick around for a little bit longer. It's not too far along there. Um, she tells him that it's too bad that she's going to die. She's got a Freilich brain, and she could drop dead at any minute. And he's kind of bummed out about that, of course. So Clive finds out that Jack's daughter, who's a computer science major, probably hacked into Rick's car and killed him. And so he goes and interviews her, and she denies it and says, "You can check my computer and see anything. I didn't do it." In the meantime, her father, Jack, comes in saying that he did it. And so they bring in Vampire Steve, the IT guy. And Jack confirms it, that he's been reading his daughter's textbooks for the last year, learning up on all this stuff to become a hacker, to be able to hack into these vehicles. And he tells Steve exactly how I did it. And Steve's like, yep, that's one way of doing it. And so he's the one who gets arrested for murder. Again, very simple. That's all they need to do. We have a motive for it, all this kind of stuff, and they solved it all at once. There wasn't big fanfare, and it was the B plot. Actually, it was the C plot at this point, which was fine. That's all we needed. And they did it very nicely. It was very well packaged, and it was very easy to follow. It wasn't one of these things where there was kind of just thrown out there in the ether and you're just like, what? Wait a minute. Did they just arrest somebody? Did that person just confess? Because you never really knew with the other writers of how this was actually happening. If you writers are watching this at all, I'm sorry, but this episode is the way you want to do it. This is the blueprint for it, at least going forward. This in episode 3. Episode 3 is still the best episode out of the season. But yes, this is the blueprint you guys want to use if you're going forward with the rest of the season. Hopefully you did. So the doctor who was scratched, he's examining all the delegates as they're coming through. And Senator Hoover comes in, the guy who's very hostile towards Major and everybody. And the doctor scratches him and then reads off a list that basically says, here's some hair dye. Here's some skin coloring. This will last you while you're in DC. You work for us now. You'll be contacted later, kind of thing. And sends him on his way. And he goes back to DC as a zombie now at this point. And he has to conceal that he's a zombie. Donnie, in the meantime, tells Darcy about the matchmaker, what the matchmaker told him. And Darcy's like, okay. But you know what? We were all going to die at some point in time. I just might die faster. Who knows? So she's basically living in the moment kind of thing. She wants to know what his favorite bar song is or what his song is on the jukebox because he was making fun of her song when he first came into the bar. And she says, I also want, I'm scratching stuff off the bucket list. And one of the things is I want to get into a bar fight. So Donnie puts on his favorite song. He goes, this will set the mood. And then he bumps into some guys and starts a bar fight. It's that easy at the scratching post. And he's in love at this point. And she's along for the ride, I guess, as well. So Liv tells Ravi that she's having dinner with her dad. And that's when Clive comes in and tells them that they've both tied for the raffle and they both won the mountain bike. And then they're both like, "Well, I really don't have room for this. I don't either. I really don't want the mountain bike anyway." So they both never wanted it in the first place. They're coming down off the car salesman brain at this point. Yeah. And finally, we see Martin sitting there and he's watching the documentary about Liv becoming renegade. And Frenchie comes in and tells him, that's what I call the guy, is Frenchie. I know he's got a different name, but it's easier to just call him Frenchie. And he tells this, tells him that the senator has been scratched and he's back in DC. And then he sees what Martin is watching and tells him, "You want to watch out for this one. Don't let her get under your skin, because if you do, she could screw some stuff up." And Martin's like, "Don't worry, I've got this one covered," kind of thing. And that's where we leave off on the episode. So good episode. I mean, we actually had a lot of stuff filled in. Penn Farm Girl. So will the cure come from Donnie's new soulmate with Freilich syndrome or whatever? Get infected, or from Liv's long lost dad who created the original virus, or a combination of the two? Um, I'm pretty sure that she's going to end up getting the formula from her dad. He's going to fall for her at this point. He's going to turn a little bit. He's still going to die. I mean, obviously, for all the shit that he's been doing, he's going to die. But he's going to give her the formula at some point in time, maybe right before he dies or something like that. Ravi's going to reverse engineer it, because that's what he's been looking for Utopium all this time. And they're going to save the Freilich kids, because you can't just have the kids with Freilich brain getting killed willy-nilly. Or will it be something else entirely? Lots of foreshadowing of these two options. Yeah, exactly. Yes, I know his name's Enzo Stanley. His name is Enzo, yes. I just call him Frenchie because, quite honestly, he's doing a really bad Inspector Clouseau impersonation. And, you know, it's funny, but at the same time, it's kind of annoying. And so that's why I call him Frenchie. It's easy to remember. And yes, it is intentional that they're doing a Inspector Clouseau impersonation, because he is supposed to be an inspector. And that was the whole joke when they originally brought this character in. Yeah. They are not going to get killed. They will die shortly. I'm pretty sure the Utopium will cure them as well. It's all gonna work around Stanley Tweedle. It's excuse me, Mr. Roboto. Uh, it's all going to come together. Trust me. It really will all come together. And everyone's gonna have a happy ending at the end here. Except for Liv. Her dad's gonna die. So he is a very silly character. Yes, he is, Stanley. I agree with you. Enzo is a silly character, and I'm kind of glad for the dark turn that he took, to tell you the truth, because now he's not becoming so silly, and he doesn't have to wear that stupid outfit anymore, either. With the cape and all that stuff that just looked weird, and I'm glad that's yes. Does your dog bite? No. Rawr. I thought you said your dog does not bite. That is not my dog. That is the old, yes. That is the old joke. Yes, Mr. Roboto, I am. So, yes. You have a massage for me? Yes. A massage? What? A massage in the box. The cape was awesome and very Frenchy. Yes, it was very. He had the little jaunty beret as well, and all that kind of stuff, rakishly to the side, and all that stuff. It just was very. It was Inspector Clouseau. That's what they were doing. And that's the cheesy stuff that I like about iZombie that they used to do, was they would have all kinds of stuff like that, and it was fun. And then this season kind of went, I don't know, it went pear-shaped, I guess you can say. Yeah, Enzo does add that little extra touch of weird. I agree with you, Pen Farm Girl. He really does. And he did pull off that cape, Mr. Roboto. He really did. It was just the lines. It really brought out the color of his eyes. So where are they going from here? Like I said, he's got to come up with the formula for Utopium. Obviously, he's making it and snorting it because Liv knows that he's still using. And if he's still using Utopium, that's the other thing is when she asked him flat out, "Are you still using Utopium?" How would he have access to it? Because Utopium has gone now, supposedly. They've used up the last of the Utopium. So one of the things she should have asked him is, "Where the hell did you find more Utopium at? You know, if you're using it," kind of thing. And where can we get more? Because right now they're thinking Beanpole Bob is the person who invented it, and it's not. It's her father who did, because he's a chemist. Uh, all in all, I still really like the show. I really like the show too, Pen Farm Girl. It's someone was getting down on me about last night's Krypton review that I did. And they're like, "Why are you reviewing the show if you don't like it?" And it's like, I like the show. I just didn't like the entire episode because Lobo was in it, and it's a bad Lobo impersonation. Yeah, it is kind of like crystal meth. So Utopium isn't it made? Yeah, exactly. It is made. That's what we were saying. Her father was the one who invented Utopium. Ah, there we go. Her dad is Beanpole Bob. There we go. Donnie called him. That's right. I kind of glossed over that. I forgot all about that. Yeah, he went into the lab calling him Beanpole Bob. That's right. I think if it wouldn't it actually that doesn't sound far fetched at all. Pen Farm Girl that he's Beanpole Bob. So uh so he's just has to make more than yeah exactly. He knows what the chemical compound is. They were talking about this him and Stacy Boss. So he knows exactly what that chemical compound is. He's been tweaking the formula. He was tweaking the formula at the time, but that was what he found, and it was a drug that he was snorting and then ended up getting into a energy drink, which does happen. So when Red Bull first came out, yes, people were mixing Red Bull. It used to be Red Bull and cocaine back when it first came out to get that really high if you really wanted to get really super tweaky. And then I think they were kind of mixing it with downers as well. So it was kind of like the up down up down up down. I used to work in the bartending scene and the first .com scene, which when Red Bull first came out. Fun story, when Red Bull first came out, it was New Year's Eve. It was in the 90s. I can't remember exactly when it was. I remember I was working a huge New Year's Eve party, didn't know what the hell Red Bull was. The first time we ever saw it, I drank some. I was working a 14-hour shift and I ended up drinking about I want to say like about 6 of them in a very short time span. I worked the fastest I've ever worked in my life and then crashed as hard as I could. And I cannot drink that shit ever again. Yes. EJAR, wow. Guess I hung out at different parties. Yeah. Trust me, San Francisco, first.com, you know, explosion that happened. There were a lot of parties that were a lot of drugs that were flying around. Yeah. You seem like a Zima man. No, I am not a Zima man. Zima is shitty. Yeah. I can't stand it either. Actually, it tastes like sweet tarts. That's what it's a liquid version of sweet tart is what that is. And if you remember the old sweet tarts, little candies and all that stuff, that's exactly what it tastes like. And I can't do that. Blech. Yeah. That was the one and done for me. I can't even smell that stuff anymore. But that's neither here nor there. If you like what you see, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. You can hit the dislike button. I just ask you to go down in the comment section and tell me what it is you don't like. Give me some constructive criticism. Don't just hit the dislike button and run away like someone did. I think it was on the Krypton one. I don't remember. Someone did one recently. So yeah, just tell me what it is you don't like. Nothing like you look funny, you talk like an asshole, or whatever. Because I'm going to ignore that stuff. Just give me some constructive criticism. And if you want to see when I'm going to be on again, you can take a look at my schedule. It's up on suspendedfanimation.com. It's also up on Facebook. I also have a Twitter. I have an Instagram. The Instagram is becoming a lot more active now that Comic Con's coming on online here. So you're going to see a lot of stuff coming out. Tomorrow is going to be Swamp Thing. Saturday is going to be Saturday Morning Blast Off, where I take the news of the week, genre news of the week, talk about that, and any other genre stuff you guys want to talk about. Sunday, I'm off. Monday is Legion. That's right. The final season of Legion. We have that going on. And Wednesday is Krypton, the aforementioned Krypton. There we go. Does Liv's father know the formula for the Rager drink? They don't need to know the formula for that. All they need is the Utopium. That's the activated stuff. We saw him when he snorted the Utopium, he zombied out. So he's the very first zombie because of it, Mr. Roboto. Now I'm thinking about rum with mayo. Ew, that's disgusting. Mr. Roboto, you talk like a guy who does YouTube reviews. Wow, thank you. Slurmy Scott, Quaaludes and weed. That was my generation. Dance all night to the disco beat. What's disco, Slurmy? I kid. I know what it is. It's that thing that's on CBS All Access. Oh, man. So, and if you're still on the fence about joining up too, you're going to see a video that's going to pop up here. Basically, what it's going to do is Google's going to take the algorithms of all the stuff you've been watching on YouTube, all the dirty little secret stuff that you've been watching, and it's going to take the video from my video library, match it to that, and plop it up there. If you like what you see up there, then hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. Up in this area is going to be a video of my choice that I'm going to put up there. I think I'm going to put Jessica Jones up there for you to watch for tonight. So, yeah, because I really didn't like the way the Krypton one ended, since it kind of cut off the last 3 minutes of my meandering review that I was doing on that one anyway. Disco got repackaged as dance music. I thought disco was short for discovery. Or EDM. God, yeah, EDM, we used to call it electronica back in the day. Yeah, that's what it was called, was electronica. Purple Man says Dawson Creek. Yeah. YouTube knows everything, especially what you did last Tuesday at 11:17 a.m. I know what I did. I was at work. I was having lunch at 11:17 a.m. last Tuesday. I believe so. Probably somewhere around that time. But yes, it does know what you did. It knows what you did last summer. All right. So, with that said, like I said, it was a good episode. We got a lot of information this time around. Blaine is back in business. We don't know where Donnie stands with Stacy, but he does have a new love interest at this point. And we also know now that Liv's father is the one who invented Utopium and is possibly Beanpole Bob as well. So, with all of that going on, it's going to be interesting how they close this thing out. There's multiple different ways they can go with this. And that's one thing I have to say about the show is it isn't boring. It does keep you guessing as to where direction it's going to turn. And most of the time, it takes the turn that we don't see. Does Donnie ever have hair? No, he does not. He shaves his head. We've never seen him with. You actually saw in the flashback 5 years ago, he didn't have hair. Blaine's hair was a different color because Blaine had not zombied out yet at that point. He might, Slurmy. I know you're interested. You perked up now at that point. So, with that said, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, take a look at the video if you're still on the fence. I'm going to let you guys go for the night. Thank you, everybody who joined me. Joe Greer, Mr. Roboto, Slurmy Scott, E-Jar, Pen Farm Girl. Thank you all for joining me. Oh, and Stanley Tweedle. I forgot you there. Sorry about that. And you as well, you who have been watching this video all this time, thank you for joining. Hit the subscribe button. I'm at 250, roughly around there. It keeps going 249, 250, 249, 250, 249, 250. Get that number up there. Hit the hit the subscribe button. Take a look at some more of the videos. And I will see you guys tomorrow for Swamp Thing. And Swamp Thing's actually pretty good, so definitely watch that. With that said, good night, everybody. Thank you. And don't let the door hit your ass on the way out, because otherwise, you may find out that your dad invented a drug that turns everyone into zombies, and Seattle might get nuked because of it. Thanks, everybody. Good night.